Nate Tice, football analyst from Yahoo Sports. Dad, Mike Tice, we're talking about how he was recruited at Pitt, and Nate was a grad assistant, as you were at Pitt, and
much later than me, a little younger.
All of the right. Don't get me started. All of the cross sections of I've covered Pitt for a long time too, and it just
so he
fun stuff.
lived on the south side for 2 years, so he knows the neighborhood.
Yep, knows the hood. Nate, thanks very much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you're here at the Combine, and just give us an outline of sort of what you're looking to accomplish here personally.
Meeting people. That's really it. But no, really just getting to know like some news that's going on. It feels like the whole NFL kind of takes a pause until the Combine happens, and then everyone starts talking, and deals start getting made, and like news starts breaking and everything. So they're really just staying on top of that. Just learning some stuff about some of these players as well, and then you're looking at measurements and everything. Like even I won't be here for throwing tomorrow on Saturday, but that's kind of funny. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're not watching throwing?" It's like, I got this thing called film.
Oh boy, don't get him started.
I'll just watch that, and I'll be good to go. And they have pads on and defenders there, and it can help me out. But it's a traits league.
It's not helpful.
I think so. I think football needs all the people on the field. Yeah. But the
Told you you'd like to say it.
NFL is a traits league all the way, and that's what the Combine is to see what these traits are. But also, it's like really the most important part of the Combine is interviews, medicals. And as we see more players kind of not doing all the testing, like, I'm not going to do cones this year. I'm not going to do this. That also is kind of like a nice little thing. So, this guy did, like Denzel Boston from Washington, he announced, I'm doing all the testing and I'm doing all the drills. And it's like, okay, a little feather in your cap.
Right.
Just little things. And I know that's what you maybe want to call narrative scouting, but it's like, it doesn't hurt for these guys when this class lacks such consensus, like especially at receiver. It's a lot of there's a lot of guys grouped together. Any little of these differentiators to help them stand out, it's going to help them because there's so many different flavors that can kind of go after in this class.
So I listened to your podcast, Football 301. Everyone should check it out. We had Harmon on earlier, and I know just listening to your show as a former quarterback, you have a little bit of an affinity for the big receivers, and I've seen Boston linked to the Steelers a lot.
Yeah.
What do you think about Boston at 21 for Pittsburgh? How would he fit in?
Well, and that's what I would start with. What happened last year and even the year before that, George Pickens would get hurt, that the whole offense cratered.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf's not on the field, whole offense craters, and it's not having that receiver to just take some of the help up, and it doesn't have to be an end-all be-all guy like a true ace. That's why I've kind of. The Steelers have to address the receiver room, but it's like I'm kind of like trying to gauge exactly what would be the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
Boston would be great. It would have been a lot better, actually, I think, in Arthur Smith's offense. But, McCarthy offense, which is more quick hitting and more just a little bit more tempo, like DK's going to be fine in that. Boston, to me, actually isn't maybe the one that I would go pair with him.
Instant separator. You don't see that part.
I love Boston. I really do. But, like, for the Steelers, they already kind of have the big guy. Metcalf is more finessey, even though he is a big guy. Boston is that true ball winner type. He's a true X. It's just there's some hat on a hat there that I'm kind of like, okay, they are a team that I can justify going to Mekhi Lemon, who's a little different skill set, works from the slot. I think he matches what McCarthy would like to do a lot more. But
just because they get open quicker?
Quicker, yeah. We're attacking underneath. Having said that, like Carnell Tate's, as of this point right now, once you got to see testing, got to see everything, but he's my receiver one. But like right behind him is Boston, and I think I'm one of the.
He's two for you?
For me.
Wow.
He's one of the higher guys for me because it's hard to find a true X skill set. So I know I'm kind of talking out both sides of my mouth, but it's just one of these guys that.
But you're scouting generically.
Yes,
scouting
and every team's so specific and everything. Yeah, and that's the thing too. A guy like Boston, to me, is more scheme proof in the sense that it's like he fits into a lot because he's an X. I think if like a midline comparison for him would be like Cortland Sutton for the Broncos. Matt Harmon has compared him. He's going to love this because he said it once under his breath, and then now I keep saying it on every other show.
Stealing it?
Yeah. He goes, and I keep making sure. Matt Harmon said this. Make sure you clip this. Is that he said.
I steal from Harmon, too.
Oh, no, he's the best. he said like a Diet Coke Mike Evans. And I was just like, okay. Yeah, I know. And I was like, all right. And because I'm one of the higher guys on him, so I'm using any ammunition I can get on him. But no, I really like Boston. But I think the Steelers, to address receiver 2, have options more than other teams where I'm like, well, they have to get this guy. There's someone had the Chiefs taking Lemon. I was like, they don't need another slot guy that has to be off the ball. They need size and they need that. So it's like he's more specific while Boston kind of fits all. But the Steelers could take Lemon if that all makes sense. Like they're a little bit, their options are more open at that spot.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about the wide receiver position. So twofold question. First of all, how many of these guys are going to come in and make an impact? Because the Steelers need somebody opposite of Metcalf. Look, I'd like them to develop the guy who then you offer a second contract to 4 years from now when DK's contract comes up. He's your next number one, so that opens up a world of possibilities for me at different positions. But they need somebody that can help them right now. They don't need a guy that is going to project, right? Although I'd like that guy. So how quickly are there separators in this group of 10 or so receivers that are going to go in the first 2 rounds of guys that are more NFL ready, or are more and more guys coming out NFL ready?
I'd say more guys coming out are NFL ready, which is I think also too, like even this year it's getting described as, it's a deep receiver class. It's like, I think every class is going to be a deep receiver class because this is the ramifications, the trickle down of 7-on-7 leagues.
Right, exactly.
All right, everyone talks about the quarterbacks. Well, who's catching the football?
And who's covering those guys, right? The corners, too.
Defensive back play has never been better than it is right now. I think as far as tackling in space, as far as understanding rules, defenses are really smart, and I think the defensive backs are really smart and more technically sound than they used to be. So it's not a position – it used to be what? Year 3 is when you see the
exactly
receiver breakout.
Right. That's right. Yep.
And I think this class, if you look at the consensus to kind of top 4, Tate, Lemon, to me, Boston, and then Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Tyson is the rawest of that group. Casey Concepcion, which would be another guy, you could describe him as a gadget guy, but he's got more receiver to him. And that's actually why I like him. Again, like you brought up size, it's a traits league. I keep trying to beat this over the head to people. He's an undersized guy that I like because he plays like a real receiver. Like he actually can do the outside stuff. He can run a real route tree and all that. But again, it's like those guys, he might take a little bit to transition, have to start gadgety before he becomes more a real receiver. But Boston, Tate, and Lemon to me are instant contributors. Not saying Pro Bowl year 1, not saying Jamar Chase, anything. Puka Nacua year 1. Puka Nacua is round 5. But I do think that they can at least be that kind of 800-yard range. They're not messing up plays, play after play. Like they can actually hit the ground running. So those kind of 3.
I love the people that Matt brings in here. Yourself, other experts. So on Tuesday, if I'm drafting, based on who we talked to, it's Concepcion. Today, it's Lemon. Right?
So somewhere archetype.
Garden getting on to Boston.
Okay, right.
I'm a big fan of Boston. I know, but that's the thing. I don't want to dissuade, say oh no, it's not perfect for Steelers. It's like Steelers have more options. While like if the Bills or the Patriots drafted a receiver, I'm like only draft Boston.
Yeah.
Like they don't need a Lemon. They don't need a
Chiefs are a good
Concepcion.
example.
Yes, Chiefs are another one. They need Tate. Like it's like they don't need another undersized guy. Well, I think the Steelers, because they have Metcalf and the tight end room as well with Washington, they can go for a different flavor that has maybe more underneath juice, that like just a different type of skill set.
So I know you're on top of the prospects, but you're also on top of scheme and the coaching and play calling and all those type of things, and you touched on it. What should Steeler fans expect going from Arthur Smith to McCarthy?
A lot more quick-hitting passing.
Okay.
That is – I got to see who the quarterback is. That's the other thing.
Let's assume it's Rodgers.
Okay, assume it's Rodgers. Okay, slant flat. So get ready for that. No, but it's as West Coast – it's as traditional West Coast as it gets. And McCarthy actually has gotten kind of like – I'm going to say underrated, but he's like actually a better play caller and a play designer than I think maybe he gets credit for. He's good. No, it's just a lot of traditional NFL concepts. So you're going to see a lot of quick game. If it is Rodgers, he's going to have more freedom to do like, smoke routes to Metcalf, where he's signaling stuff. He's going to give him that freedom, which is, if that's good or bad, we will to see in a few months, assuming
But you're going to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going to get it. But it's going to be a lot more gun heavy. It's going to be a lot more, plays at the line. Their attack was never really downfield as much. They didn't really kind of like work a lot of like high-low concepts because Rodgers was not really about that. If you notice, even last year, there's a lot of times he just takes a one-on-one. Even if it's Calvin Austin against an all-pro corner, he's taking a one-on-one. It's like
Valdez-Scantling.
Yes, it's like yes. It's like read it out, read up the trip side. But McCarthy's offense kind of plays into that a little bit too. It's like it kind of morphed into what Rodgers preferred. But that ball was out quick a lot. It was a lot more quick hitters as opposed to Arthur wanted to do more downfield stuff. It wasn't perfect with Rodgers. That's not, but what he wants to do, attacking over the middle.
Do you think Rodgers today fits McCarthy better than he fits Smith?
Yeah,
for sure, right?
Yeah, it's just because that was just at times to me it was a little square peg round hole. And like that example I just brought up where he took the one-on-one, I would see Arthur Smith designing something, and I'm like, it's so like in a classic, you guys know, but like a classic concept, like if you have a trips concept, it's like I can work the trip side against a look, or if I like my one-on-one, I can just take that.
Right.
Rodgers had Devontae Adams a lot of time,
right.
So he's like,
different, right?
I'm just gonna take the one-on-one, and he like never untrained himself, if that makes sense. So Arthur Smith's like, well, I gotta get to this.
And all this good stuff that you're right.
Yeah. And Arthur also, that offense, ideally, if you looked at what it was in Tennessee and even in Atlanta, whether it was Marcus Mariota, whether it was Desmond Ridder, whether it was Ryan Tannehill, it was play action and then play action with in-breakers. Rodgers doesn't really throw dig routes anymore. He doesn't want to throw picks, and he doesn't want to chase down the pick. He doesn't until it gets into 2 minute, and then all of a sudden he becomes a totally different player, in the 2 minute drills because he lets it loose. So it was never a perfect fit for it to totally unlock each other. So they kind of try to do two different silos, kind of trying to you do a little of your gimmick and I do a little bit of my gimmick. It's like two wrestlers. All right, get your stuff in, and then I'm going to get my stuff in, and then we'll finish the match. That's what it kind of felt like. It was like, let's just get through this. While McCarthy's just by default, it's going to work a little bit better, be more cohesive.
Is he going to care about the running game, McCarthy?
Yes and no. Not as much as Arthur. That's more of a complimentary thing. It's West Coast. It's pass to set up the run, as opposed to Arthur, it's run, and then we're going to launch stuff down the field. So it's going to be more horizontally attacking, and then the run game is going to be more spread look running.
But we're definitely see more receivers on the field and fewer tight ends.
Yes, that's generally what you would do, at least in Green Bay. And I mean, they had the skill players for that. So again, but also in Dallas, he was the same way as well.
With fewer tight ends and more receivers, there's also a lot of talk about, hey, we don't want to flush Pat Freiermuth. He's here for a reason. They paid him for a reason. Last year was a regression across the board. What do you see for him?
Freiermuth? It's one of these things where he doesn't have that plus attribute. He's like a fine blocker. He's like a fine receiver. I did think that the times that he stepped up was, again, those 2 minute drills, especially attacking down the seams. And I think it was just Rodgers just kind of just didn't work to him. I think Freiermuth is like a solid starter. That's how I view him kind of nationally. And I think the thing is that it doesn't have that standout aspect to his game that kind of just he has to be on the field to run this route, or it has to be on the field. And Rodgers played favorites. And then Darnell Washington was obviously a favorite of his. Mm-hmm. And then even running back-wise, Kenneth Gainwell was a favorite of his. And I think Freiermuth was just ended up being kind of taking that, not the favoritism a little bit, kind of dropped down the rank, kind of just didn't get the usage that you would see. But I do think he's fine and solid. I want to see more downfield stuff from him. He's attacking the seams, and corner routes and everything. But if Rodgers is the quarterback, he might not really see that yet.
Right.
By the way, I went full scale squirrel, like a dog, on the word slant. Yeah. Because I didn't see a lot of those on 3rd and 2, and we've been talking a lot about Jacob Downs, who's not a free agent with Indianapolis, Wan'Dale Robinson, one of these guys that just look, not a lot of huge yard per catch for Wan'Dale, better this year for the Giants with the absence of Neighbors, but just a guy who can move the sticks for me, a guy who can quickly beat somebody off the line. I know they want big physical receivers, but is there a market for that for the Steelers, getting that guy that can just help you move the sticks?
Yeah, and that's where even the discussion about Lemon. That's what Lemon's like, a souped-up Wan'Dale. And that's kind of that skill set that I think is what they want in this offense.
Do you think it's lacking on the Steelers roster?
Yeah, well,
okay.
Just look at the receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was the thing is Rodgers wasn't pushing the ball last year, so if you're not going to push the ball far, he truly had one of the lowest. I think you actually reached out to me about this. I meant to send it to you, but he had one of the lowest air yards relative to the sticks.
To the sticks, yeah,
history.
I did find it.
Yeah. Period. One of the lowest you'll ever see. It was him
since they've charted it.
Yeah. So since 2016. And it was him, and Alex Smith with the Commanders. And it's that's not a good area to be in. And if you are going to attack underneath, you need guys that can create yak. And so that, to me, is that's why you want the Lemons of the world, those guys, as opposed to Boston, who's a downfield ball winner. DK actually works because one of DK's best routes.
He's not a ball winner.
No, he's not.
I've been telling people that.
It always messes with people what he plays. He's a slant guy. That's what he's best at is quick hitters. And that he's not what people think he actually is. But that's if Rodgers is going to play this way, you then need guys that post Rodgers can contribute, but even in this little timeline that hey, we can take this 2-yard slant route or 2-yard flat route that we're going to throw a bubble and he can create a first down of it. He can be the Randall Cobb of this offense. That's what this offense
that's a good
really
call.
is.
Yeah,
the Randall Cobbs of this offense, not just Jordy Nelson.
I know you're more offensive, but are you dialed in with Patrick Graham at all? What they can expect defensive changes?
Yeah, I've always really respected Graham. He's kind of been the defensive coordinator on a lot of bad teams, and
he's
always
a lot of bad players.
A lot of bad players.
Not great head coaches.
And
either.
At the end of the year, you look and he's oh, they were 14th and DVOA and all these advanced stats. I'm and then you watch it, they're really sound. They do when he was with the Giants. That was the first time he caught my attention. It was when he was with the Giants and he was doing some cool stuff with Bradbury, James Bradbury, and just how they were doing a lot of cover 2 rotations that a lot of other teams do now. He has Patriots background, but he doesn't. His style is not very Patriotsy. It's kind of his own thing. But
what I've gathered though is he will change week to week.
I was
like
going to say he
Belichick.
adapts.
Okay,
that's what I think. That's my biggest compliment I give to him is that he is a very good game player. Like as far as week to week, like he'd be great for playoff football. That he's just never gotten to coach in those games. So,
bad teams.
yeah. No, but he would like him and a guy. I'm not even saying it's a 1-to-1 comparison, but as far as like how good they are week to week with their third down stuff is like Lou Anarumo in the sense where it's like, okay, this week he's doing this thing. This week he's leaning into this way. Sometimes they get caught because it's like, okay, the game plan wasn't great, but he's adaptable, and I think that's why I like Graham a lot. No, he's always been kind of like
and the Steelers haven't traditionally been very adaptable on defense.
No, running the same coverages for 15 years. I mean, they get beat by the same. I mean,
people have caught
on.
Out. Yeah.
They're getting beat by the same routes every single time. They're doing spot drop, and there's the ball going over Wilson's head, right in the seam again. Graham adapts. So, like even last year, Pete Carroll comes in. They try to do some hybrid stuff, and then you could tell by the end of the year when Pete was kind of losing power there. It's like, okay, that defense kind of got a little more Grammy in a good way. But no, I really like him. But what I've seen is more too high stuff. But again, it's hard to say that that's what he does because he changes it depending on his personnel.
Nate Tice, Yahoo Sports football analyst, has been our guest. We could, again, talk with you all day, but I know you got other people beating down the door for you. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.